King Fu here. Got another list. We're gonna go with the top 10 martial arts set pieces. That's what we're gonna go with today. This one, I'm gonna do two different categories of this. So this category is gonna be groups. So it's gonna be featuring more than two people. So it's not going to be one-on-one set pieces. I'm going to do a different list that's going to be one-on-one set pieces. Yeah, this is about more than two people. So it's going to be like groups against one, or team against team, or two against a big mob, stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot that I've actually missed out on this list. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh my god, there's so much that I could have put on this list. The one thing that's not on this list that I'm going to mention, first of all, honorable mention, is going to go to The City of Violence. This is a Korean movie, and City of Violence, it's about friends that grow up and they grow apart in it. And then one of the friends actually is trying to be like a mob boss in it. And then his other friends are just kind of like, yo, you're wilding out. We got to do something about you. It might even come to the point where I got to kill you. You know what I mean? But their former friend has got a mob, like a Korean triad, basically equivalent, behind him. So that's a good movie. Check that out. Good set pieces in there. But let's get to the list. Right. So we're going to start with the raid one. We're going to start with Mad Dog versus Iko and Domi Alamsha. The two brothers versus Mad Dog. You just... Do you know what I love about this, right? Is you almost root for Mad Dog. I love it, because I went with my friend and we was watching, and it's just like Mad Dog just would not quit, bro. He was just going in, busting up these two, man. And, you know what I mean? And then you think he's gonna die because he gets stabbed, but my man's just still going. Oh, spoiler alert! But you know what? I'm not gonna be saying no recent. Well, spoiler alert, whatever, man. But like, he just keeps going at the end. He gets stabbed in the neck, and he just keeps going, and it just keeps going to the point where you're just like, yo, is this guy gonna quit? But it's just rough. It's brutal. There's a lot of real, you can tell there's some full contact hits. You can tell there's slams, you know what I mean? You can tell a lot of the stunts is them, you know what I mean? Very few stunts that it's somebody else going into there. You can tell that they're in there doing their thing. And it makes a lot for when you can tell that people are doing their own stunts. It makes up for a lot in action movies. So let's go. Second, Mark for Death. Steven Seagal. This film has all of the action pieces in this film have all of the complaints that I have with all of action pieces in Steven Seagal movies. Steven Seagal never wants to get hurt in his movies. He never gets hit. He never gets injured. He never gets bruised. The only time he ever gets injured is like a plot point. So at some point in the movie, he'll always get hit at the back of the head, left unconscious, and then kidnapped and tied up somewhere. But aside from that, no one can ever touch him. Nobody can ever do anything right. Now, Matt for Death, and also quickly, another thing that I love about Steven Seagal's first movies is that I always used to think that Above the Law, which is also known as Nico, Mark for Death, Out for Justice, and Hard to Kill were all based on the same cop. I used to always think that all those films were Nico, but they're actually not. Only Above the Law, the cop, Steven Seagal, is called Nico in that. All of the other movies, it's supposed to be a different cop, but it's literally the same character. Steven Seagal cannot act yet. But what makes Mark for Death this set piece is when he's fighting against the Jamaicans in the jewelry store or some boutique store. And what makes it funny is the Jamaicans. Just their character and what they bring to this set piece, as they're getting bust up, the dialogue that they just keep coming up with, and when the one run off and then they come back, what they carry one for? He's like, what, my boy? And it's like, you know what it is that just makes it so humorous. Do you know what I mean? It makes it funny. It brings a lot more character. It brings just a lot more character and just to the scene. Do you know what I mean? And everything else is just Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal in them movies can move. He can do moves, and you know what I mean? It's all convincing. It's brutal, but it's just there's no adversity to them. But the element of the particular villains in that scene of Mark for Death when he's fighting the Jamaicans in the boutique is, it just makes it absolutely marvelous. It just brings so much to it. So that's number 2. Number 3, Kill Bill, Uma Thurman versus the Crazy 88. And with this, I'm going to also include when she fights like the Yakuza at the beginning, the first set of Yakuza that she fights. When she fights Gogo, that is a sick, that the way that is just shot and choreographed. Because what I love about Kill Bill is it has the elements of like the old school, like the 70s and 80s style of the way that Kung Fu was choreographed, and then it couples in new like techniques, new elements. The fact that it's Japanese weaponry, and Young Woo Ping doesn't usually choreograph like from a different culture, you know what I mean? Most of his stuff is either like very Chinese, like Chinese cinema, or just contemporary, where this is particularly like Japanese arts. So different angle on that, like brutal blood. If anybody can see the original version, where, because in the movie that we get in England and in America as well, like at some point when she actually fights the rest of the Crazy 88, it turns into black and white to kind of like just dumb down the violence, like just to kind of just nullify it a bit. But in the original Japanese thing, there's more kills and there's no black and white element, so it's just all full color and it's just absolutely graphic. If anybody can actually get a hold of that original Japanese version, I would love to see the full movie that has that in it as well. Next, oh yeah, and also like with Kill Bill, of course, when she fights Oren Ishii at the end in the snow, beautifully shot. So of that too, do you know what I mean? So all of the Battle of the House of Leaves, that's what it's called. The Battle of the House of Leaves is the whole thing. All of it is absolutely like wonderfully shot. Do you know what I mean? You could. Yeah, all of it, every single bit of the House of Leaves is fantastic. Next, Jackie Chan First Strike. Tables, ladders, and chairs. Like, it has to be. Vince McMahon had to have got the tables, ladders, and chairs match in the WWE programs from Jackie Chan in First Strike. It has to have been from there. It's just like, also when he uses the staff, because all the guys he's fighting against have sticks, and he gets the stick, and like when he grabs one stick and then throws the stick he has to the guy, and then keeps the other like, yo, there's so much in it. He's spinning the ladder, jumping through the ladder, like trapping people in the ladder, and with the way he uses the tables, and like, you know, it's spatial awareness. Like, I love about that fight is because it shows like the spatial awareness, and also because the character he's playing as a hero, he's not really trying to hurt anybody. He's just trying to defend himself, because he's trying to talk to one of them in particular to be like, yo, we need to talk and figure out what's going on with our situation. And the guy's friends ain't listening. They're just like, nah, whatever, man, shut up. And they're just trying to beat him up. And so he's really just trying to defend himself. So it shows all that element as well. Like, that's what I love about a lot of Jackie Chan's choreography. Like, it's acting. It's not just like fighting. It's like there's acting, and he's expressing the motivations of the characters through the fight as well. It's not just that it looks cool. It all has to have meaning behind the plot and the driving force behind what he's doing. And it's just creative as well. And kudos to like Jackie Chan's stunt team. Do you know what I mean? They are marvelous. You know what I mean? It is like it's the team that makes him look great. Do you know what I mean? So the next one I'm going to say is a movie called Clash. This is it's an indie film. This is not very well known. It stars Veronica Engo, who is in a movie right now called Fury, which is similar to Taken. It's about a woman whose kid gets kidnapped, and she goes and she has to get her son back. Do you know what I mean? And it's very similar to Taken, very similar to the movie Kidnap Halle Berry. We're gonna get to Halle Berry in a sec, and and it's very similar to them. Do you know what I mean? But we're not talking about that movie. But that's a recent movie you can see her in. But this movie is Clash. So Veronica Engo, Johnny Nguyen, who is in Warrior King, he fights Tony Jaa after Tony Jaa goes through the set piece where he goes through the restaurant, like the restaurant that's selling all the illegal animal, like, you know what I mean, chopping up illegal animals and making food out of them. The one piece where he goes right to the top of the restaurant, and then at the top of the restaurant he fights a guy called Johnny. Actually, I think he's called Johnny in that, but that's his real name. Do you know what I mean? And it's them two and a guy called I think it's Li Ming Tang and Lam Ming Tang, and so the set piece is that these guys are thieves and they're gonna rob Russian boss in Korea, because I think this is a Korean film as well. This is Korean. So they're gonna rob a Russian boss. They're gonna rob a Russian man, yeah, and they need guns. So first they got to go to the gun runner, but the gun runner recognizes Lam and he's like, "Yo, I know you. You killed my cousin." So then it breaks out. Do you know what I mean? The deal goes sour and everybody's fighting. This scene is so sick. You know what I mean? It's just like it combines a lot of kickboxing elements. It's one of the first films that really added like UFC moves, techniques in it. Do you know what I mean? It was one of the first ones that did it, like after Flashpoint did it. Do you know what I mean? But the way they do it is really cool. There's a lot of really sick takedowns. In fact, I think that Johnny Nguyen is Spider-Man's stunt double in Spider-Man 2. I think Johnny Nguyen is one of like the motion captures. So you can see that in this movie that he's very athletic and he's very like, for someone who's tall and got long legs and stuff like that, like he's very athletic. He carries himself very well. Like he's very similar to like Mako Zaro. And Veronica Engo, like she can act and she can move, but she can act very well. So there's a lot of like she puts that tough gal on, like she kills it. You know what I mean? So, but in Clash, like this scene, it's the first action scene, like the first set piece, and it just all goes off. You know what I mean? Chaos everywhere. A lot of like, you know what I mean, proper stunts, like crashing into stuff and getting hit with sugar glass bottles and all that kind of stuff. But very well done. One of the more unique ways that it's been handled. Next, Accident Man. Accident Man, Scott Adkins is an assassin who has to find out who killed his wife. One of the first like fights, like the like a lot of these fights in this movie are really good, but the main one that you'll hear people talk about is him versus Michael Jai White and Ray Park. So this is one of the things of where this is kind of, the story of it's kind of similar to Kill Bill, because it's like basically it has to be one of his old crew that has killed his wife. That's what it is. So the first people he addresses is Michael Jai White and Ray Park. They're like a two-man duo out of the whole clique. And so he addresses them, and Michael Jai White's trying to be like cool with it and being like, "Oh, yo, yeah, I don't know, but I'm sorry, man, and anything you need." But then Ray Park character is being an asshole. He's just being an asshole, and he's antagonizing the situation, which leads Scott to get angry and break out, and it breaks out into a fight, them two versus him. Very well done. Almost like very long takes, almost no like very, if there's any like snips and swipes of it, they're very cleverly done, or there's very just few like blatant ones. But because Jai White and Ray Park are wearing like big karate gear, you can tell that they've probably got padding under there, so there's a lot of like body contact, a lot of very like tough like goes at the body, and very realistic, very cool, not too brutal, like there's no madness, because basically that fight breaks out and there's no resolution to it, so there's not like, it's not very like graphic and brutal. The film gets like that further on as like he starts to find out the truth and starts to find out who needs to get dealt with. But this scene is it's pretty cleanly done. Do you know what I mean? Pretty cleanly done. Kiss of the Dragon next. Jet Li. Yeah, I like this movie. I like Kiss of the Dragon. It took me, first time I watched it, I was very disappointed by ways that it turned out, and certain plots in the story and certain things that they could have really took there and didn't. But as much as like there's things that it's like, I don't know, what it does well, it does really well. And one of the things it does well is the first scene where Jet Li has to escape the hotel after the I think it's a consulate, like Hong Kong, like I think he's a consulate, and he gets killed, and it's a espionage, and you know what I mean, everyone's trying to blame Jet Li, they try to frame him, so he has to get out of the building first, you know what I mean, and that scene is just sick. Man's pelting people in the head with irons and having to like figure out how to like nullify the grenades, and you know what I mean, kicking snooker balls in man's head and all kind of thing, yeah, and it's really well done. It's one, I think, for me, like, yeah, one of the best like action pieces that Jet Li's done in his whole career. Love it. Next, another quite unknown film, Raging Phoenix. Ji like, she is gonna be the subject of another movie that I'm gonna movie. I make movies now. These are movies. What I'm doing. She's gonna be the subject of disappointing fight scenes. There's gonna be one I'm doing of where disappointing fight scenes, and I'm gonna talk a bit about like careers and things, and like certain reasons why certain you know what I mean, like actors that should have been like very accomplished like martial arts stars, or should have had like really great movies, but they didn't. She's gonna be the subject of that list. I've talked about Steven Seagal here. I might bring him up again, you know what I mean, but I pretty much said it here. But Raging Phoenix, Ji Yin. I mean, Chocolate was her first movie, brilliant. They set her up to be the female Tony Jaa, cool, well done movie. Her next movie, Raging Phoenix, bad boy. Thai is basically centers around Thai drunken style, bad boy. And but the end fight is where the concept of the Phoenix comes in. At the end fight, you see why she ends up being called the Raging Phoenix, and it's her versus the Jaguars. It's the Phoenix versus the Jaguars, led by Jaguar London. Now, Jaguar London, I can't say her real name. I'm sorry, I can't say it. Do you know what I mean? I tried to find ways to find out how to pronounce it, and I can't, so I'm not going to attempt it. But the character is called Jaguar London. That's who leads the 3 people that she has to fight at the end, and that's just a tough fight. And Jaguar London, very, very powerful presence. The actress is actually like a bodybuilding champion, and she's a judo champion. She does a lot more techniques in this. I don't know like the basis of her fighting style in the actual movie, but Ji Yin, she plays like like a woman. She studied Thai boxing, and then she goes into drunken style, and then after that she finds her own style, you know. So very well done, very powerful. If people who are complaining about there's no female action stars and there's no female action set pieces, watch that one for a start. And you know, there's very much more. I'm gonna say, well, the last 2 that I'm gonna bring in this list, I've got 6 female set pieces in there anyway. So which leads on to John Wick 3. John Wick and I forgot the name of the character, but basically Keanu Reeves, Halle Berry versus and the dogs versus the crew when they went. Where did they go? Man, I thought, was it a Frenchman that they had to talk to? But they were all the way out in the desert. Like they went out to, when John Wick goes out to the desert, and Halle and Berry's out there, and you know what I mean, he's trying to make a deal with one of the assassins, one of the guild. It goes south. They have to break out there. You know what I mean? The dogs busting up everybody. Halle Berry showing out. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because Catwoman. So we was like, it's done for action movies with you. But she came back in that John Wick. She showed out, man. She was not playing. For me personally, I want to see that solo movie of Halle Berry. I want to see that as a spin-off. If you know what I mean? Because the Continental, I hope that they do. You know, I'm pretty sure John Wick 4's coming, and I'm hoping that John Wick 4's the last one, because I just don't think they can really develop his story any further than they have. I think we're coming to the end, and if they try to draw it out too much, it's going to end up just being this stale, him just running around fighting people. It's like, how many more, you know what I mean, how much more running around can John Wick do? Do you know what I mean? But they've built a world that can have some amazing stories in it. You know what I mean? And Halle Berry, her character is the first person that they've really built a story that could have some weight to it. And I want to see that. But yeah. Well, without spoiling anything, I've pretty much been like, yo, John Wick 3, Halle Berry, Keanu, busting up everybody. The dog's in there, biting up man's things off. Anyway. And finally, I'm going to go with Atomic Blonde. Charlize Theron protecting the asset from Daniel Bernhardt and his 3 goons. They're going down the stairs, fighting everybody. You know what I mean? Well, she's fighting. She's defending her client. Them goons are all chasing her down the stairs, getting thrown down the stairs, shooting at each other. Daniel Bernhardt, you know, he's a really good martial arts actor. He's in a lot of movies that people won't really be aware of him until they really start knowing his name. But he started off as a fake Jean-Claude Van Damme. He took on sequels to movies that Jean-Claude Van Damme didn't want to do, like Kickboxer, for instance. He's in The Matrix Reloaded. He's the main new agent. He's in John Wick 1. He's the head bodyguard who's supposed to protect the son. And he's in this movie. He's like the head henchman, and the fight's just brutal, man. It's just brutal. You know, the stunts, you can't play around with them stunts, man. Like the falling down the stairs and stabbing up, man, and taking licks to the head. And what I love about it is the way that it's shot. That you can see like the energy wearing down and the stamina wearing down as well. So that's what I really like. It's not just too like everyone's invincible, and you know what I mean. You really you see the battle wear onto the onto everybody that's involved. You know, so yeah, I really like it. So that's my 10 of set pieces with more than 2 characters in groups. I'll catch you up in a bit to talk about my one-on-one set pieces. Also, I will say this, with these movies, it doesn't include the top 10 list, like my top 10 martial arts movies list. So basically consider like any scene in that, like just consider them like above these, but I'm just trying to shed some light to some others as well. So thank you.